This is Pwalpar. I'm out here doing a little rail fin injection this afternoon. As I mentioned earlier, I forgot my tripod today and we're dealing with a gecko camera mount. But I thought now might be a good time to talk a little bit, maybe tell you a story. Sitting here thinking about fishing. I've always been an avid fisherman. I've fished all over the world, well, not all over the world, in lots of places in the world. I fished in creeks, rivers, oceans, trout streams, lakes, ponds, just about any place you can think of to wet a hook. And there's no bigger thrill than to catch a fish. It's like getting a shot of adrenaline. I gotta admit I haven't been fishing much lately in the last few years, but I need to get back to it. Today I thought I'd tell you about my first fish. It was in McRae Georgia, and I was every bit of 6 years old. Me and my brothers played up and down the dirt road in the neighborhood there. Weren't supposed to venture too far from home. Well, some boys, older boys down the street was going fishing. I had never been fishing. My grandfather always went fishing, never would take me with him. He always came home with lots of fish. But they asked me did I want to go fishing with them down to the creek. Well, I know I wasn't supposed to be down at the creek, but they had an extra pole. And I tailed along with them, went down to the creek across the road there. It was right next to a paved road. And it wasn't much of a creek. It might have been 10-15 feet across. It was big enough and deep enough to drown in if a boy was to fall in. But they gave me a cane pole, had a little old hook on it, and a bobber, cork bobber. Stuck a worm on it, popped it out there in the water. Sure enough, it wasn't long, my little bobber went down and I yanked up on the pole, caught my first fish. It was a little old brim or perch, I don't remember what kind it was now. And it was only about 3 inches long. But I got more pleasure and joy from that first fish than any fish since, and I've caught lots of fish. There's no greater joy than a boy's first fish. I mean, that fish, he couldn't have been 3 inches long. He was a little bitty booger. But I was thrilled. I yanked that fish off the hook, threw the pole down, and ran all the way home. I got to share this with my mama. I got to show her my fish. I ran all the way home with that little fish. Didn't even tell the boys goodbye. I was headed home with my prize. And it was like a trophy to me. I got on to the house and went running in the back door. Look, Mama, I caught a fish. I caught a fish. Look at my fish. I caught something else that day too. I caught a spanking with a switch, but I'll never forget the joy of that first fish. Wasn't long after that my grandfather started taking me fishing. I guess it probably amused him when they told him my story of me and my first fish. He carried me down to the Okefenokee swamp. We didn't live too far from there. And he fished all the time, and when he come home, he brought a lot of fish with him. But he carried me off down through the woods. We came to a stream. I thought we were going to fish at the stream. He said, get your clothes off, boy. We got to wade across this stream. Take my clothes off? Yeah, you got to get shucked out of your clothes. You'll get them wet. We waded across that creek or stream, whatever it was, like a little bayou, to get over to an island in the middle of the creek. The swamp. It was really a big swamp. Well, the water was only about waist deep for him, but it was up to my neck. And we waded across that stream. It was a good 20 feet across there, maybe more. I'm holding my pants and my shirt over my head so they won't get wet, and I'm tiptoeing in that water to keep them drowning. Got across the creek. We went out in the swamp and caught bukuls of fish. And I really enjoyed that too, but nothing compares to that first fish I caught. I've never felt that thrill quite like that again. Thought I'd share that little diddly with you. Thanks for listening.